Here now, oh Lord, please make these days of ours on this earth filled with peace. Salamun, 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 salam. Salamun, 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 salam. Salamun, 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 salam.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Waleed Basyouni, the Vice President of Al-Maghrib Institute and a member of the Fatwa Committee and a Simply Jurist in North America. I'm here with my friends to discuss a very interesting topic, a topic that I believe it is not only a concern for Muslims in the West, but all over the world. Not only Muslims, but non-Muslim as well. It is something that the whole world talk about, and the whole world trying to figure out a way to deal with it. It's the issue of terrorism. This workshop, if I may call it, in the following episodes, we will be talking about a very interesting topic. I believe it is heroic or heretic. There's a big difference between the two words. Are these terrorist groups and individuals heroes? Are they really bringing any positive change to the world? Did they ever make anything better? Or they're heretics, people who have changed their religion, have used the religion to gain maybe personal gain, or they misunderstood the religion and they have made the religion look so ugly and terrifying, and even created a phobia about Islam in the eyes of so many Muslims and non-Muslims alike. I would like to approach this through a very academic way during these episodes. And I hope, inshallah, with my friends here in the studio, we'll be able to cover many points that I find it very interesting. Welcome, Amr and Ahmed.
Yes.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. My name is Ahmed. I'm 27 years old, and I'm from Egypt. I work as an English teacher, and I study American literature.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm Omar. I'm an Egyptian citizen. I'm 31 years old. I work in one of the channels. I write scripts and translate. And I have the honor to be here with you, Sheikh.
Thank you very much. Inshallah ta'ala, these episodes and this topic, it's a topic that I've been teaching about for a very long time. I'll be very honest, this issue is a concern for me since the 80s. So it is something like I have seen growing up, many of the jihadis groups, how they changed through the course of these last decades or so, and going more extreme and more extreme in nature. But this workshop, or this episodes in particular, we'll be talking about the modern type of extreme jihadi groups that exist today. Unfortunately, I call them jihadist group, even though the word jihad is a very beautiful word in our religion. But the misuse of these groups, unfortunately, they use that term today. I'm going to use it just because it is a popular term today. Otherwise, they have nothing to do with the jihad. And I would like to speak about the extreme Muslim jihadi groups, or extreme Muslims groups who terrorists happen to be Muslims. As we know, Islam is a big difference between Islam and Muslims. Yeah. There is no terrorist Islam or extreme Islam. You know, Islam, it's a moderate religion, it's a perfect religion, alhamdulillah. But we have bad Muslims, we have extreme Muslims, we have radical Muslims, we have a terrorist happen to be a Muslim. But Islam in itself is not fascist, is not radical in its nature, it is not an extreme in its nature, it's a moderate religion. But people can go extreme. So here when we talk about the jihadis, I'm not talking about the jihad, I'm talking about the people who claim that they are jihadis. And specifically I want to focus on those groups who happen to be Muslims, First, I'm not experts in other extreme groups. I'm not expert on the terrorist groups that exist in Israel or in Ireland or in Japan or anywhere in the world, Sri Lanka. That's not my area, that's not my specialty. Number two, the people I'm talking to are the Muslims. This is the people that I'm listening to. That's why I have Ahmed and Omar in the studio to discuss this together. You know, I'm not addressing the whole world. So nobody to come and say, hey, why don't you talk about the terrorist group that exists in a country? You know, that's not my target audience. This is not the people they listen to me, they take from me. I'm talking to the Muslims, to the youth, to the young generations, to the people who are confused about these terrorist groups. I'm talking to the Muslim community in the West specifically, because that's where I live. I also believe there is a big difference between a terrorist group that motivated by political reasons and a terrorist group that motivated by religious reasons.
Yes.
There's a big difference between the two. Yeah. I think the political ones are both ugly. Using violence and hurting innocent people to convey your message, it's a wrong way of conveying your message. But those who are motivated because of political reasons, in many cases you can settle with them, you can reason with them. You know, when this political conflict ends, this activity will come to an end. But the problem when someone motivated by religious ideologies, when this is going to end? You know, it's going to continue as long as this religion exists. And that's the dangers of it, in my opinion. That's why here this has become a bigger challenge for us as a Muslim scholars and student of knowledge and du'at to make sure to explain what is really the meaning of jihad, what is really the meaning of khilafah, what is the meaning, these issues that are risen by these groups, and to clarify it for the masses, to make it so loud and so clear that we are motivated by our deen to protect our religion. I'm not here to please anyone or any group. I'm here to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to protect this beautiful religion and to keep it as pure as it is, as it was revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The same thing when we talk about all these innovations that happen to religion, all these sects and deviant groups that came through the history and tried to change the beauty of Islam by adding their own interpretations. We want to bring that to the original message, the way it was in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and the early generations. As you can imagine, this is a very big subject. There's so many groups exist today, claim that they are a jihadis group. There is so many reasons behind violence. You know, there is this culture of death exists in modern days. I don't know if you noticed that or not. It's always about dying. It's all about dying, and it's about the culture of death is something became very common in modern days. Can you imagine if you are a Syrian today or an Iraqi? Wow. All what you hear about is death, killing, or in Palestine. If you turn on the news, everything in the news is about killing and dying. The culture of violence, look at the games, look at the movies, look at the message that come across the youth today. We have a big problem, as you see, bigger than just an ideologies or a misunderstanding of religion. We have a culture of violence in modern days, a culture of death versus culture of peace, culture of harmony, culture of the culture of honoring and loving to live life. You know, so many Muslims, they think sometimes being a religious, it means you only think about death and you're going to die, and you know. I believe this culture and somehow contribute to create kind of strange personality, receptive to the idea of violence and dying, and think that if you die for the sake of Allah, that's the best thing you can. One of my teachers, Shaykhna Shaykh bin Baz rahimahullah, used to say something very beautiful. He said, "Al-hayat fi sabilillah as'ab min al-maut fi sabilillah." He said, it's easy to die for the sake of Allah. What's really hard is to live for the sake of Allah. Is to live your life while you're holding into these principles. So you see, there are so many different reasons behind the violence and the extremism and turning to be a terrorism. And the shubuhat, the doubts that they have, there's too many of them, to how they justify their actions because they come as religious figures, and they have spokesmen claim they are students of knowledge and so forth. Also, the doubts, the shubuhat that these groups have, there's too many of them to cover. The way governments and communities deal with these groups varies from one country to another, from one society to another. So my point is, there's too much to cover. And during this workshop, I would try to narrow our talk into discussing specifically two groups that I found them very effective in modern days: Al-Qaeda and their branches in in Arabia or the Arab Peninsula and North Africa, and also, as you know, Egyptian Jihad group joined Al-Qaeda as well, Shabab in Somalia. So this is a whole entire group, very important to cover to talk about some of their ideologies, and as well ISIS or ISIL, the so-called Daesh or Ad-Dawla al-Islamiyya or Khilaf Islamiyya, whatever they call themselves. This became a big phenomenon in the West. I don't know if I can call it a phenomenon yet, but it really interested a lot of people to think about even joining them. We have a large number of Muslim Westerns have traveled and migrated to join ISIS, and I would like to counter their message by showing what is really Islam says about some of the issues that they speak about. Especially, they have very strong presence in social media through their magazines, the videos that they send to attract and to convince more youth to go there. Allah knows how long this group will remain, but obviously the idea, the message that they have created in the last couple of years, it is something will remain for a while, I believe. So I hope, inshallah ta'ala, we will cover these two groups and we will focus on a specific point. I guess we'll take a break, then we'll come back to continue our discussion, inshallah ta'ala.
Peaceful, 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 peace. Peaceful, 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 peace.